Gridco, please take your seats. Where is the minister? Now, kindly introduce yourself to the committee.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chair, and good morning, members of the Honourable Committee. My name is William Oreku Edu, Member of Parliament for Fijakwa South, and the Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Energy. I'm here with my Chief Director and the Acting Chief Director and the CEO of Gridco, who will introduce themselves. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, Honourable Chair. My name is Wohelmina Samoa, Acting Chief Director at the Ministry of Energy. Thank you.
Good morning, Honourable Chair. My name is Samuel Nkansa, Finance Director at Gridco.
Good morning, Honourable Chairman. My name is Mark Ba, Director Southern Network, Gridco.
Honourable Chair, my name is Henry Samwood, Acting Director Procurement, Gridco.
Good morning, Honourable Chair. My name is Richard Ntim, Director Internal Audit.
Good morning, Honourable Chair. My name is Ebenezer Kofi. I'm the CEO of Gridco.
Thank you very much for coming. You have a number of issues, so we'll go straight to the first one on paragraph 518 to 533. Honourable Basua. Philip.
Thank you, Chairman. The Gridco issue per the paragraph has to do with the non-payment of 2017 third year pension contribution of 21,986,104. And as the auditors on the paragraph 532 recommended, to the management to ensure that contributions are remitted to the appropriate custodians within the required period as set out in section 3 of Act 766 to avoid payment of penalties. Gridco, per the paragraph 527, your borrowing increased by 92.6%. I want to know that your institution policy on borrowing. Does your institution have policy in borrowing? I want to know.
Yeah, in the absence of Mr. Chair, the Deputy Chair, the CEO will take this one.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I will defer this question to the Director of Finance, who will give the full details of all our borrowing structures and how we go about it.
Mr. Chairman, my question was that I want to know your policy in borrowing, the institution policy concerning borrowing. And before your finance director will give the details about what you have, what is your institution's policy concerning borrowing?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Gridco's policy on borrowing has to do with the requirement needed for our CAPEX. We do the borrowing in line with whatever revenues that come out of our tariff and the percentages that we can accommodate in line with the payback period. Then also our borrowing, because of the nature of our project, is more skewed in the direction of the long-term tenor kind of facilities. By and large, that is what we use.
Okay, then let your finance director counsel.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow up my CEO's submission, like you said, as an institution, we don't borrow for operational purposes. We borrow to finance our capital expenditure. So depending on the capital expenditure requirements, we access funds to be able to deploy those projects. Thank you.
Per the figure I gave, the borrowing was so much. What accounted for that?
Mr. Chairman, from 2014, I think the business decided to do some infrastructure developments. And in order to be able to deploy that, I think we went for an AFD loan, which is the Agency Française Development Loan. So a lot of the drawdowns happened in that period. That's what explains for that spike in borrowing year on year that you highlighted to us. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I talk about the arrears concerning their third-tier payment. I want to know the situation, as mentioned, how it is now.
Mr. Chairman, as of today, the total arrears has been paid and has been verified by the auditors.
Auditors, evidence.
Honorable Chair, the payment has been effected. Thank you.
Are the subsequent payments of third-tier pension contribution is up to date?
Mr. Chairman, it is up to date.
Chairman, I think I have nothing more to say. So if
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Let's move on to the next one, paragraph 534 to 545. Honorable Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your infraction here has to do with outstanding tax of about 193,749,555. And this comes as a result of your company owing the Ghana Revenue Authority corporate tax of 157 million, penalty 12 million and above, then the PAYE 23 million, PAYE interest 23,000. And in your response, you accepted, you said the penalty and interest has been accrued and captured in your 2017 financial statement. It means that, according to auditor, they cited a demand notice. The GRA demanded for this tax, which you accepted. Have you settled the liability?
Mr. Chairman, most of these issues came about due to our cash flow challenges. Based on demand notice from GRA, we accepted the responsibility and we have a payment plan with them that we comply with.
My problem is GRA liabilities normally are compounded monthly with interest payment. So do you agree and there's a cutoff and GRAs have agreed that your liabilities stand at the 193, or you just agree with them that you will be paying? Because if you have just agreed that you will be paying, by the time you realize this liability will be more than 1 billion. What is the agreement? What is the plan?
Mr. Chairman, we agreed with the totals with GRA, and therefore we've logged it in and we are doing the payment as agreed with us from the plan. The letter is attached in the appendix 2 to this document.
4 years down the line, what happened? Have you finished paying, or you are still paying?
We are still paying, Mr. Chairman.
You intend to pay. When do you think you will finish paying this liability? Because the monies are, government is losing revenue.
As a matter of fact, government is losing revenue, and because of that, as part of the Energy Sector Recovery Program, which my Director of Finance is a member, he will speak into detail on what we've actually discussed with the Ministry of Finance and Energy in addressing this requirement. So, Director of Finance.
Honorable Chairman, as alluded by my CEO, our inability to pay the full tax liability was because of cash flow issues, in the sense that we are not able to collect all our receivables on a monthly basis, an ongoing basis. Out of the regulated market, we used to collect just about 40%. So although we are declaring profits, the cash flow is bad, so we can't, because we don't collect the monies, we are not able to pay. That's the reason why GRA even gave us the flexibility to agree on the payment plan that we submitted to them. So it's a challenge we have as an industry, but with time, I think we've seen improvements across the value chain, and the payments raised then, a couple of years ago, has even increased compared to today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The PAYE is a statutory payment which you are paying monthly, and you know the implication of a worker owing tax, because it simply means that you cannot file your returns, you cannot get any other document like a visa to travel. You can't register any document because your tax payment is not up to date. That particular side, the PAYE, which is a statutory payment, which you paid almost every month up to date, do you still owe the PAYE?
Mr. Chairman, my comment was reference to the CIT. This is corporate income tax. For the PAYE, we are current, and we settle all the outstanding bills.
Okay. So you try and pay the money because government is broke. Let's go to 540. This one you have to do value-added tax, which I know your company is a corporate entity and registered to pay, charge VAT and pay to GRA. Why do you decided to refuse to pay, and you are saying that you have got your exemption, probably your sector minister advised you not to pay, defer that one for now. I believe that if you want to look for any exemption, you should be talking of Minister of Finance approval. But this is the case, you never got approval from Minister of Finance and the GRA, yet you have decided not to charge VAT. Why so?
Mr. Chairman, GRICO wrote to GRA on November 30th, 2028, on the guidance for charging VAT. 2018, sorry. On guidance for charging VAT on the services that we provide to our bulk customers. GRA later issued a press release on May 4, 2020, putting that charge on hold. So as of today, we don't charge transmission service charge. We don't charge VAT on our transmission service charge, only on our telecom business. And that is the issue we have now. We only charge the VAT on our telecommunication business, but not on the transmission aspect of business to our bulk customers.
And you are up to date?
Yes, we are.
Are the documents available to the auditors?
Yes, the auditors can speak to it.
Did you cite any document from the GRA exempting them from charging VAT on the transmission lines?
Honorable Chair, that is so. Thank you.
Chairman, thank you very much. I'm done.
Thank you very much. Let's move to the next one, paragraph 546 to 557. Honorable Kisi Edumako.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, let me commend Gridco. Regardless of your challenges, we need your services. In this case, we have non-existent transmission service agreement or agreement with customers. And there are a host of companies, 16 of them. In another case, some have, but it was expired. My biggest question is, why so, and is it possible to, instead of maybe, I don't know how long the arrangements are, if it is 1 year, shall we now make it 2 years? Or what checks and balances are there to make sure that the renewals are done in time? Thank you very much.
No, Chair, the CEO will take this one.
Mr. Chairman, from the audit, then we have a transmission service agreement and the generator connection agreement. Those are two scenarios. The companies that virtually were looked at, most of them have been renewed. The ones in particular that were mentioned in our response to what we've submitted, Valco 1 will expire in March 2023. Ghana Water 1 will expire in February 2025. Drillworks expires this month, so after it will be renewed. Car Powership has a connection agreement signed in 2015. Taka Generation International signed their connection agreement in 2012. TV3, they've disconnected. We don't do business with them anymore. Sonan Asogli signed their connection agreement in 2019. VRE signed a connection agreement in 2019. AXA signed a connection agreement in 2016. Senate signed in 2012. For Akosumo Textiles, it is yet to be signed. Asanko, theirs expired in April 12. We submitted a renewal to them. It's yet to be signed. Great Consolidated Diamond is not in operation. Our mines, it's also not in operation. Ameri Power Plant, we are waiting for the relocation by government to VRE for it to be signed. Bui Power Authority has not been signed due to capital recovery issues that we are discussing with them. Evidence has been attached in Appendix 4, and this has been verified by the auditors.
May I say that these are very crucial information. Is it the norm that this is put in your annual report so that it's public information? Is that the norm?
Honorable Chairman, it's available there and even also on our website. These are agreements that the great participants are familiar with. Thank you.
Chairman, I think I'm satisfied with the answers. I don't know if Audit Service has anything to add to this.
Honorable Chair, the recommendation that we made has been implemented. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move to the next one, paragraph 558. It's about dispute of recharge regulatory levies, ancillary charges, and power infrastructure levies. Now, the issue is about disputes involving a number of companies: Volta Aluminium Company Limited, Diamond Cement Company Limited, Savannah Diamond Cement Company Limited, then ILDC/Enclave Power Company Limited. Now, the auditors are saying that this levy disputed may result in loan outstanding receivable, and this also impact negatively on the company's operating cash flow. They recommended to management to engage the PURC and the respective customers to resolve the disputes. MD, has the dispute been resolved, and what is the current status of these disputed levies?
Mr. Chairman, the Director responsible for Southern Network will take this one.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Chairman, these were levies that were introduced by the PURC in 2017. And Gridco's responsibility was to collect these levies and pay it to the PURC. So they were not monies that were coming directly to Gridco. Now, when these levies were introduced, as shown, some customers went up in arms, refusing to pay. So we asked PURC to clarify, and we asked the customers to touch base with PURC because these were introduced by PURC. Subsequently, in 2018, PURC finally withdrew these levies. So if you look at the gazetted tariffs now, these levies are not included. So these were issues actually with PURC, but GRICO was the collection point for the collection of the levies for PURC. So as we are speaking today, the levies are not in place and the issues are not active any longer. Thank you.
But before the levies were withdrawn, some amount, totally 183.7 million, had accrued. What happened to that one before the levies were withdrawn?
So as I intimated, so these were monies for PURC. If we had collected them, we just pay it to PURC's coffers. But once they were not paying, we had nothing to give to PURC. So these were amounts of money that had accrued in the names of these bulk customers that were owed to PURC.
Yeah, but they didn't pay.
Eventually, they didn't pay.
So that's the end.
So in effect, that was meant for PURC
so
to ensure that
PURC to chase the money, not
yes.
GRICO.
Yeah, yeah.
You are only collecting.
I'm saying that 550, you skipped paragraph 550.
Yeah. 550. Oh, okay. I'll come there. Oh, that should have been done by Honorable Adumako. All right, so we need to take a decision on this. The companies owe levies. They disputed the levies. GRIDCO was just a collection point. PURC is the actual owner of the money. So other companies paid, right?
Yes, other companies paid. There were some companies which were exempted, like the distribution companies. And I think we found enclave power there because originally PURC had insisted that they were supposed to pay. And they came out to say that they are also a distribution company, so they are not going to pay. So they, quote unquote, won that case. But some other companies still continue to insist, like Valco, because Valco had they believe they had a special dispensation, so Valco was not willing to pay that. So, Honorable Chairman, that was it.
Okay, Clerk, take notes. Write to PURC for them to clarify this issue. If they be able to, if they are letting the money go without the money being collected. What is the decision of PURC on this, so that we can help us prepare our reports well? It's not something that GRIDCO should be responsible. So let's go to paragraph 550 and Honorable Kissing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This has to do with long-standing trade receivables from a few companies. This time I'll list the companies and the amount involved. Enclave Power Company, 3 million Ghana cedis. Electricity Company of Ghana, 145 million Ghana cedis. Northern Electricity Distribution Company, 63 million Ghana cedis. Prestia Sankofa Company, 464,000. Great Consolidated Diamonds, which I think he said was not operational now, 238,000. Akosombo Textiles Limited, 684,000 Ghana cedis. Obrere Mines, 21,000. Bui Power Authority, 4 million Ghana cedis. And then Free Zones Board, 1,819 Ghana cedis. And then Volta Aluminium Company Limited, 15 million Ghana cedis. So the total, we're looking at 234 million Ghana cedis, 338,331 Ghana cedis. And out of all of this, we have disputes that two companies that we're concerned about as well, Anglo Gold Ashanti and NCBC, respectively, as of December 2017. Kindly update us in terms of where we are. I know it's probably a revolving door, but if you could give us an update on this. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, the Director of Finance will answer this one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as Honorable Member said, it's a revolving door. If you look at the position then in 2017 to now, it's really transitioned. In this, you can see two main components: the regulated market, which is ECG Netco, and the unregulated market, which are the other bulk customers. For the bulk of payments, for those in operational, I think payments have proceeded, they've paid. But the biggest ones where we see gaps are the regulated markets, where the ECG balances, because revenues are growing, the uncollected portions are also growing. So if you look at the balance today, if I could tell you, is increased. The total regulated market is over 2 billion as of today. Now, in terms of doing the right accounting treatments, as recommended by the auditor, we now applying IFRS 9, where we are making provisions based on how well we see these items to be recoverable. So we are doing the right accounting treatment. It doesn't mean that we are letting it go. We still keep chasing them to collect our monies. Thank you. Evidence attached in Appendix 5, Mr. Chairman.
Auditing Service, can you verify if your recommendations are being instituted?
Honorable Chair, per what has been done, I can say that the recommendation is being carried out, but not conclusive. Thank you.
Chairman, I think I've exhausted this.
So, according to you, you still pursue the money, and the response is positive? Is the response positive?
That's correct, Honorable Chair.
It means that they should be paying something out of this, because this is 2019. If the response is positive, is the money still 234 million, or it has come down, or it's gone up?
Mr. Chairman, as I said earlier, the money has gone up because our revenues have gone up. If you look at our revenues now, it's almost doubled versus 2017 levels. So as the revenue goes up, the uncollectibles portions also goes up. But I should state here that, Mr. Chairman, if you look at the collection rates then versus now, after implementation of cash waterfall, it used to be like 30%. Now we are doing about 60%. And that's the reason why you are seeing Gridco declaring profit post-2017. Thank you.
All right. Because I've seen Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NETCO, they're also here facing us. So when they come, I'll ask them what they are doing to pay the money they owe Gridco.
Exactly so, Mr.
NETCO,
Chairman.
get ready for that question. All right, let's move on to paragraph 564. No on-lending agreement between VRA and Gridco in respect of asset and liability transferred. The auditors have noted that some assets were constructed by VRA for Gridco. The assets were financed on facility granted to VRA. And these facilities are VRA contribution to WAP drawings, 66.4 million. VRA contribution to WAP drawing, USD, 21.4 million. AFDB GDAP drawings, African Development Bank drawings, Kuwait Fund, 657 drawings, either 4092, that's CR 4092 drawings, and other CR 4213 drawings, totaling 614 million. Now, there is no on-lending agreement between VRA and Gridco. The absence of on-lending agreement may expose the company to liquidity risk, according to the auditors. They advise management to engage VRA and the Ministry of Finance to conclude on an on-lending agreement to state the terms of the facility. Now, let me find out what is the position of government on this. The government still, Minister, that's your question. The government still want to on-lend this to Gridco, or it's a decision of government that Gridco, the money will not be on-lent to Gridco for repayments?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Ministry of Finance, on behalf of the government, has taken equity in Gridco to defray some of these monies. Has evidence.
What percentage of equity taken by government?
Yeah, 100%, Mr. Chairman.
100% of what?
The money. I think I would like the CEO to throw more light on this one.
Mr. Chairman, the total amount for the facility that VRA took, and because we ended up being the beneficiary of the asset, was about $141.2 million. What Ministry of Finance did was they converted that into equity and issued a letter dated November 12, 2018. It is a tight, and the auditors have verified that. So government took the whole $141.2 million.
Which means our government is going to finance the debt completely, because it's a loan facility.
I think the Director of Finance can speak.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, these were loans that the government of Ghana was the borrower then. And as such, usually the loans are on lent to the very respective agencies at the right time, so that they can service the loans. In this aspect, it was VRA. However, because Gridco detached itself from VRA, and we were the beneficiaries of the assets, so VRA was supposed to push the online agreements to Gridco. Support. The government converted those loans, because we couldn't afford to pay because of our liquidity challenges, converted those facilities into equity into the business then. Thank you.
So if it's converted that into equity, it means that government, Gridco is now paying for the loan by issue of equity. What percentage of the company Gridco has been issued to government to pay for this?
Mr. Chairman, we will get back to you on that, but it was about 10,000 shares. It was converted to a value of about 10,000 shares. Maybe we'll get back to you on that, on the details.
Yeah, we need to know. And my next question is that, who is the original owner of Gridco?
Mr. Chairman, the government of Ghana, 100% owned.
If government of Ghana is owned Gridco 100%, why should government of Ghana buy part of that share again?
Mr.
They were increasing their share flagship. I mean, it's 100%, but they are increasing the number of shares issued.
Okay. Fine, it's understood. They are increasing their capital into the company. But do you pay dividend to government?
Mr. Chairman, we are supposed to pay, but cash flow is our challenge now. We are hoping that we'll get out of it and start paying dividend to government.
All right. So, clerk, take notes. Government has increased their ownership of the company by taking the debts of 614 or 140-something million dollars. And that when Gridco become more profitable, then the shareholder, who is the government, can then receive dividend. For now, no dividend is coming to government. Agreement between ECG and Gridco, not recognized in the books. The amount is 12.7 million USD. The auditors are saying that management should engage ECG to identify the related assets and their associated values. The assets and associated value should be recorded in the general ledger once the values are ascertained. Management responded that a joint team is currently compiling the reports on the drawdowns of the loan facility. Can you tell us the outcome of this engagement with ECG?
CEO, take it, please.
Mr. Chairman, this recommendation has been implemented and it has been resolved. This was a kind of facility given to us for the Malam upgrade, total about $7 million. The reconciliation has taken place and a credit note was given to ECG to reduce their indebtedness to us in 2018. Evidence has been attached in our submission as Appendix 8, and the auditors have verified this. Thank you.
Can the auditors confirm this?
Honorable Chair, we have verified it. Thank you.
All right, the next one is about Bui Power confirmation of balances owed by Gridco. The auditors are saying that Regulation 1 of the Financial Administration Regulation 204 requires a public officer who is responsible for the conduct of financial business on behalf of government. The receipts, custody and disbursement of public and trust monies, or C, for the custody, care, and use of public stores to keep proper records of all transactions. Based on the trade receivable confirmation responses received, Bui Power Authority confirmed the following amount as owed them by Gridco: $28.96 million US. Now, the auditor recommended that management should reconcile the amount with Bui Power Authority, and once an amount agreement has been reached, management should recognize this in their transactions. Has that been done?
CEO.
Mr. Chairman, the issue with Bui has two legs: the capital recovery, one, and the ancillary service. With respect to the capital recovery, it is still outstanding. The reason is that Bui Power keeps making demand of us, but those transmission lines and the Bui substation are not part of our asset. We are not paid any tariff for its operation and maintenance. We don't include it in our tariff proposals. We are of the firm view that it's inclusive of the Bui hydroelectric plant and therefore has been captured as part of their PPA issued to them by PRC. We've written to PRC and also SIGA for this issue to be resolved, but it's still pending. The next one is the ancillary service. The plant has a means of generating additional, what we call VAS to help the grid. What happened was that from January 2021 to August 2021, we called on them specifically to generate the VAS for us. That one, PRC gave them a tariff, and we've settled that bill. The old one that was about 3.1 was a kind of operational. Per the PRC letter, he nullified that aspect and rather look for it from January 2021. So we paid We Power Authority on the VAS that we require from the almost about, I think the total was about $5 million. Evidence has been attached as Appendix 9, and the auditors can also verify this. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So what is the amount that is now in dispute that We Power is asking you to pay, for which you know that you don't owe them that? Because they quoted 28.96 about
the capital recovery. That's
capital
the
recovery.
25.82. That is still outstanding. That has to do with their facilities that they brought as part of their Bui hydroelectric plant. So that is the one that is still outstanding.
And that is not something that Gridco owe We Power, according to you.
For us, we don't owe them. Mr. Chairman, we don't owe them a cent out of that.
So, Clark, take note. 25 point. Did you say 82?
$25.82 million.
$25.82 million, which is a capital recovery portion of the debt, is, according to Gridco, is not owed by Gridco. And they have written to PURC to resolve the issue. So, Clark, take note of that. Auditors, are you aware of this development?
Honorable Chair, rightly so. Thank you.
All right, so we'll move to the next one, paragraph 581. 581 to 593. Deputy Ranking.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And this has to do with outstanding compensation payments not adequately supported. From the audit service, we realized that some amount recognized as compensation payments were not adequately supported, and it's such as independent valuers report. And the details is provided in table 29. Abuazi Volta transmission, some 6,640,111 Ghana cedis. Bogatanga Wagadugu transmission line 1,106,321, and the supply improvement to Western region some 14,634,506. You fail to provide adequate documentation to support this query. What is the status of this?
Yes, see you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. When the audit was carried out, the reports were not readily available because some of them were in the archives. But for the Abuazi Volta, that was a World Bank project. The evaluation was done by REFAST. For the Bogatanga Wagadugu, the compensation document was done by Kabira in November 2017. The evaluation report for supply improvement to Western region was prepared by the Land Valuation Board in 2015. These reports were made available and the auditors can attest to it. They are also attached as Appendix 10. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So in all the three projects, you've been able to provide just one supporting document to, and that is Bogatanga Wagadugu.
No, all the three are available and the auditors verify them. The Abuazi Volta one was done by REFAST, the company called REFAST. That was VRE time. It was a World Bank project. The Bogatanga Wagadugu was part of interconnection to Burkina Faso. It was done by Kabira in November 2017. That of supply improvement to Western region was done by the Land Valuation Board in 2015. This report were made available, and the auditors can attest to this. Thank you.
Auditors, are you able to verify or otherwise?
Honorable Chair, the documents were made available to us and we verified them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next paragraph is paragraph 588, and it has to do with dispute of transmission losses by VRA. We realize that based on the trade payables confirmation response received, VRA disputed balance due to Gridco as at 31st December 2017. There was a difference of 53,752,944 in favor of VRA. And the auditor says that the variance is as a result of different rates used in the computation of the transmission losses. Cost of sales and trade receivables for the year may not be understated. They recommend to management to engage the PURC and VRA to resolve the transmission losses. And I want to find out from you, have you been able to do that?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. The difference has been resolved through negotiation with VRA. The reconciled figure as at December 31st, 2018, reflected in the 2018 account. Evidence is attached as Appendix 11, and this has been verified also by the auditors. Thank you.
But what would account for this differences? Is it that in your computations, somebody would use different currencies in your what accounts for it? Just kindly give us.
It has to do with the rate used by VRA compared to the rate used by us. One was Ghana cedi 0.3597 per kilowatt hour, as compared to Ghana cedi 0.2108 kilowatt hour. That was used for the computation. So that was the one that brought up the difference. It has to do with the rate used. Yeah.
But there wasn't prior negotiations, nothing. I mean, because I cannot be selling to you at a rate that we have not agreed to. So there should have been some prior negotiations. There should have been a position where we all understand that this is the rate that we are using. I mean, unless probably this is a usual occurrence. But I think the Deputy Minister wants to help. So
no, not really. I'm just parrying it to director for Southern Network to delve deeper into it.
So thank you, Honorable Chairman. So these rates are established by PURC and is gazetted. So sometimes there are some misunderstanding in the gazetted tariff itself. So what happens is that in the tariff, you will see a rate ascribed to VRA. Okay, VRA has a number of power plants which are averaged, and PURC says that this will be the tariff for VRA. However, there is also a tariff which is a general electricity tariff, taking into consideration all the IPPs and the like. So because Gridco is paying for transmission losses, Gridco might assume that, look, I'm going to use this rate. But VRA says that this is what PURC has given me, so pay according to my rate. So sometimes you have these differences, and the regulator comes in and says that, look, this is what we meant, so just go ahead and pay for this. So that was what happened, and it caused the differences.
So we should be seeing more of these occurrences in subsequent reports because, like you said, I mean...
Now we are settled. We know what to do, and we understand it. So when it comes, it's just straightforward. And there is much more communication between us, so right. There won't be any discrepancies in law.
Thank you.
Next one will be done by Honorable Isaac Opoku, paragraph 594 to 603.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the query here is breach of loan covenant ratio. Chairman, Greco breached the loan covenants they set out with 4 companies, 4 lenders. These are Rand Merchant Bank, Stanbic Bank, Agence Française de Développement, d'Argent Développement, and then Carl Bank Limited. German, I did French. Yes. Mr. Chairman, the auditors cautioned that the non-compliance with agreed debt covenants may trigger early repayments, non-approval of subsequent disbursements, or penalties. The company may also incur additional costs on contracted facilities due to breach in covenants in loan agreements. The auditors therefore advise management to monitor loan covenants to ensure compliance, as non-compliance may restrict access to funds. Mr. Chairman, the response from management was that the breach was as a result of, should I say, unsatisfactory or their financial standing by increasing transmission of power to customers and also restructuring their financials. Mr. Chairman, I want to find out what is the current situation with regards to the covenant ratio.
The Director of Finance will take this one, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as of today, we are in compliance with our covenants, and we are in compliance with all the various ratios that have been set for us. Thank you.
Auditors, can you confirm?
Honorable Chair, the only outstanding is the liquidity ratio, which they are yet to comply. Thank you.
Chairman, the auditors say the liquidity ratio is our only one outstanding. So I'll move on to the next infraction, which is on paragraph 599. Long outstanding advances or prepayment to suppliers. Mr. Chairman, an amount of 112,074 Ghana cedis was advanced to 13 institutions, and they have either not retired them or the services for which the payments were made have not been rendered for over 6 months to 6 years. This dates back to April 2011, some of them. Mr. Chairman, the auditors noted that the ability of Greco to recover these monies was in doubt, and recommended that management should put in place measures to recover these amounts if the purpose or services for which the amounts were paid are no longer needed. Management indicated that they've recovered part of the amount, that is 68,477, and that the remaining amount will be recovered by the end of December 2018. What is the current status? Have you been able to recover the remaining amount?
CEO, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The outstanding advances and prepayments have been retired. Evidence is attached as Appendix 13, and this has also been verified by the auditors. Thank you.
Auditors, are you able to confirm?
Honorable Chair, the recommendation has been implemented. Thank you.
That is all from me.
Thank you very much. Let's move to the last one for Gridco, paragraph 604. That is damaged, obsolete, and allegedly stolen items in inventory, totaling 365,624 Ghana cedis. So there are some obsolete items, some damaged, and some allegedly stolen. The auditors recommended to management to investigate the alleged stolen items and also put in place controls to prevent this from recurring. Management indicated that they are going through the required processes to dispose of the damaged and the obsolete ones. Have you disposed of these items, and what has been the outcome of the alleged stolen ones?
Let's see who will take this one, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, the damaged and obsolete items were medical attention cards, raincoats, safety boots, galvanized paint, and some of which were no longer useful, valued at a total of about 325 plus thousand Ghana cedis. The alleged stolen items were clamps, and they were valued about 39,847. The shortages were and surpluses were noted, especially in the clamps, during the quarterly stock taking, and definitely the shortages exceeded the surpluses, so it gave indication of something that was going on. Following the stock taking, we investigated and noticed that it appeared to be either weak inventory control or pilfering. So what we did was that we virtually isolated those equipment. They are clamps that we use for emergency works. We moved them from the Tema warehouse, which was in a big place, to Akosumu. The Akosumu, where the warehouse is, you need to clear the VRE first security point to assess the place. So we moved those items there. We brought in CCTV system because it's a big yard that overlooks the route towards the free zone entry. Brought in CCTV systems. Also brought additional staff, mainly Gridco staff who were familiar with people who enter the warehouse. We equally isolated, because it's the procurement department, vehicles go there to submit tender or do business. We isolated those places. And the items that were obsolete and could not be used, a board resolution at a 36th ordinary meeting on September 2028 was approved the disposal of those items, and the supporting documents are attached as Appendix 14. This has also been verified by the auditors. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Auditors, can you confirm?
Honorable Chair, we can confirm that. Thank you.
So that will be all for Gridco. We want to thank you very much for coming to respond to the issues. You hear from the report we will issue to plenary for adoption. You are discharged. Gridco, you are discharged.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.